and gentlemen, this is the If You Kenyan. Welcome back to the CrossCultured vlog. So today's topic is relationships. That's like the major stress that everybody has. First of all, when you talk about relationships from a cross-cultured perspective, there's your parents' opinion of the kind of person you need to be in a relationship with. There's your decision on who you want to be in a relationship with, and there's what everybody else around you defines for you. So basically, there's all those different pressures that you have to try and figure out. If you're in your late teens, early 20s, and you are cross-cultured, which means that you're either Ethiopian in some other culture or you're anyone else in any other culture for that matter. From an Ethiopian perspective, your parents would say, like, you have to know how to date the right Habesha. And you're like, the right Habesha? It's like you have been limited to the pond of Habeshas. Hakuna fish. There's no other fish anywhere else that you're allowed to venture into. Anyways, but a lot of Ethiopian people think that marrying an Ethiopian is the right thing to do. Today, I'm going to be talking about Mr. Right. So who is Mr. Right? Who is Miss Right? And how do you make that decision? And how do you determine that that person is the right person for you? I would say that there is nothing like Mr. Right or Miss Right, although some people would say, oh my gosh, I met my one and all that stuff. I probably said that as well. But the point is that it's not about the person being Mr. Right. It's about learning how to choose the right person. What that means is that you need to know your values, you need to know your principles, you need to be able to project into your future. Let me tell you guys something. There's a whole different world when you're dating. It's a whole other world when you're engaged, because it's building up to like bringing your families together and everything. And then a whole other world when you're married. And then even when you're married, there's a whole world that's like in the first 5 years, and then you're reintroduced to a whole other world in the next 5 years. Like, it has so many seasons, and both of you are never the same people at each and every stage. Like, the person I was when I was dating is not the person I was when I was engaged, and is not the person I am today. And what that means is that I'm growing, I'm evolving, I'm adjusting. So you need to be able to find someone that would be able to adjust with those adjustments. What that means is that, like, as you're growing, especially as a Christian, you're allowing God to speak into your life. You're allowing Him to just mold you and grow you, and you're learning a lot of things, and you're going through painful experiences. Life is happening, you're getting children and all these things in marriage and all that stuff that's happening to you. And so there's a lot of external factors that begin to affect who you are, and you're growing and evolving. And so you need to have someone there who would be able to adjust to all these things. Someone who has grace, someone who's got mercy for you, and all that stuff. And at the same time, someone that you also have that capacity for them, that even when they get to their worst seasons, and as they're growing and as they're making mistakes, that you are able to be with them and hold them and walk them through it. What that means is basically the infatuation that's out there, the overemphasis on body, on showing skin and all that stuff that has such a sex appeal already out there. Like, all these things are just mirages. The thing is, eventually a relationship will lead to families being created, to new life being brought into this world. And so it goes from something that you'd like to do, something that you have fun doing, to something that you are obligated to do, and like raising a kid is an obligation, like that's on a whole other level. And so learning how to walk through these processes, honestly speaking, I don't know how people do it without God. And I'm probably biased because I'm a Christian and that's what I believe. But I honestly, with all my heart, I don't know how people do it without God. I don't know how relationships work outside the Christian circles. I don't know who you tell on your people to, because I tell on my hubby, I tell on him to Jesus. I'm like, Jesus, you see this man over here? And then before I'm finished, like, God shows me that I am the one in the wrong to either think that way or to expect something, or to have like really high expectations on certain situations. And so you need to have that person, and that person for us has always been God, and how God just like constantly just keeps us growing and learning and loving and expanding and learning and loving each other. And so honestly speaking, I think God being the author of love, he's the best person to go to for your relationship. So fundamentally, if the person is not devoted to God, if that person is not seeking after God, that's one red light. And I don't mean someone who's a Christian who goes to church. No, I mean someone who's devoted, like someone who goes like, Jesus, you're my everything, you're my oxygen, you're my everything. Someone who's totally sold out to God is definitely the right person for you. And so from that, there's all other aspects of compatibility. There's personality differences and all that stuff. There's celebrating each other. So all that other stuff is additional stuff, but is very critical to sustaining your relationship and everything. And also just your fundamental principles. I think that's really, really critical, because if you have someone who believes that a woman is supposed to be in the kitchen 24/7, and then you're this woman who's like, I gotta work, I gotta do my stuff and everything, like that ain't gonna work. But if it's a woman who goes like, I want to take care of my family, I want to be there, and I believe that my responsibility and my purpose in life is to actually nurture my family and all that, then that would be compatible. Because fundamentally it's wrong to think like that. That's what I believe again. But there's some level of compatibility there. So you need to be able to understand all these factors, and I feel like I have explained too much. But yes, so those are the things that I had considered. Fundamentally, my principle was always like, I had to have someone who allowed Jesus to break them, in the sense someone who allowed God to challenge them, to transform them, someone who would not have a problem adjusting and growing and apologizing when it counts and all that stuff. So those are the things that I was looking for in a person. And yeah, so I think in a big way, in a huge way, like a lot of people that I met, I felt like my relationship with God was stronger, or rather I was more determined to seek God than the other person. And so every time I realized that, I would just say, no, I'm out of this. I can't do this, because I need someone who will allow God to grow them, and not someone who will limit me, impede my progress by not listening to God and listening to the voice of God. So yeah, that's what I think. Remember to keep it cross-cultured. Being cross-cultured is all about focusing on the cross, focusing on who Jesus is, and allowing him to guide you. And I believe that the Holy Spirit is the greatest asset we have in life. So keep praying, keep seeking him, and I'm sure he will show you when there are red flags, he'll show you when there are orange flags, and he will guide you when there's a green light.